So Nan, I wanted to talk to you a bit about the work that we've done together and help others explain what our relationship has been, our liaison work together. So I first met you when you came to my workshop on research impact, and we were discussing something outside of Scholar, but in that discussion we realized we had a lot to talk about in terms of Scholar because it's a great resource for you in many ways, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I went to Amy's workshop on research impact, and it turned out to be very helpful to me as a scholar here. And she introduced me into the Scholar at UC project, which I felt was a great resource for software engineering research and education, because as software engineering researchers, we're always crying for data sets, expertise, and I felt the development group here in the library was a great resource for us to learn about agile practice, requirements, engineering, and a lot of different aspects. So yeah, I started talking more to Amy about potential collaborations.
Yeah, and we developed a very strong collaboration in the sense that you were able to use Scholar in many ways. You're able to use it as a repository for your own research.
That's right.
Then you're able to use it as a teaching tool in your requirements engineering class, and you were also able to have your students, and you are doing research and publishing on the work that you did. So you have these three areas that you're focusing on as a great tool, and actually that's what's behind us. We have the models from your class.
That's right. So what you're seeing here are the sample models produced in the requirements engineering class, which is a split-level course offered in fall 2015. What we did throughout the course was to actually use the open source repository of the requirements artifact of Scholar, because Scholar had made its effort to make it very, very open to GitHub. So I was able to introduce my students to the user stories or use cases that were collected and described in GitHub. And this particular project was a team-based project. You can see in this group there are 4 students, and here in this there are 3 students working together about 3 weeks. What they did was to take the GitHub repository and use the state-of-the-art modeling framework called ISTAR, standing for distributed intentionality, to build graphical models, which complements how Scholar requirements are documented currently in GitHub in a more textual form. So toward the end of this project, we invited a few Scholar team members, including Amy, Linda, Tom, and Era, to come to the classroom, and the students were really excited to be able to introduce their projects and talk to the experts to collect feedback and to introduce them how cool they have learned about both the requirements engineering modeling language and also their artifacts of the Scholar projects. I don't know about you, but I learned a lot from the students, and looks like they have grasped, according to Linda, some of the essentials of what the project requirements are about.
Yeah, it was a really great experience for us too, to come and interact with the students and to learn how they perceived the use cases and how they modeled them, and to learn about how we actually write our use cases and how they can be interpreted, and for an audience outside of the development team. And it's really interesting to me how the work is continuing. I know that you're contributing a lot to Scholar. I've seen a lot of entries going in over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
That you've submitted a paper and hope that it will be accepted for the conference coming up over the summer, right?
Yeah, that's right. So these models, by the way, there are 4 in total. We have 13 students, and we divide them into 4 teams. And every single one of these models now, you can access them through an open DOI link that we contributed back to Scholar. And together with some of the other research results or project deliverables from the students, including the hidden assumptions, the disagreement between stakeholders, and new requirements the students have researched out of the repository. So yeah, like Amy pointed out, we're also collaborating with Amy and Linda. They have provided huge support to the research itself and trying to I already submitted the paper and trying to have the paper accepted and presented in this year's Requirements Engineering Conference, which is a top-tier conference in our field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate the support that you've shown for Scholar, and we're glad that you're getting a lot of use out of it for these areas, for your own research, archiving your data, and as a teaching tool, and then the collaborations that you're building.
Yeah.
It's been a really great experience for us as well.
Yeah, I just want to point out that this semester I'm teaching a third-year software engineering course, spring 2016, and I had over 100 students, 104 I believe, enrolled in the class. We were talking about agile development, and the great thing is that I reached out to Linda and asked for a guest lecture from the Scholar development team, and Glenn and James and Sean went a couple weeks ago and delivered a great guest lecture to introduce their practice and how they were able to adapt what we have learned in the textbook materials to Scholar projects. So it was a very, very eye-opening experience for both myself and my students. So we thought it was a lot of fun, and I think the collaboration continues in a very strong way.
Yeah, I brought real-world examples into your classroom, and it's very close to your classroom, right? Because the library is just right next door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, well, again, thank you for the support that you're showing to Scholar, and we really appreciate, and we look forward that the relationships are continuing over the next couple of years and on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amy, for bringing Scholar to our research and teaching, and this is really great.